And we are live. Welcome everyone to our Substack Live. I am so excited to have with me today Fleur Hull. Fleur is a best-selling author with over 25 years of writing and marketing experience. She has worked with nearly 100 authors to help them market and launch their books to success. Fleur, hi, I'm so happy to chat with you today. I've been following your work on Substack, and as a fellow author, I'm so excited to discuss the ins and outs of books and book marketing and all of that with you. So thank you for joining me today, Fleur.
Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here, and I've been following your work too. And we have a lot in common. We've done some similar things in our careers, so it's nice to speak with a fellow ghostwriter and author. And I'm sure we're going to have a fun conversation today.
Yes, that should be fun. All right. So, Fleur, I think my first question is, how did you get into the world of book marketing? What was your journey like? What led you to be a book marketer?
Okay, so I have been writing my whole career, and I only just worked that out in the last month. That every job I've had since I graduated from university has involved writing. It's just that they didn't have writing in the name of the title of the job.
Okay.
But I wrote my first book in 2020 during COVID as a result of the pandemic. I
Okay.
did my job working in marketing, and I got together with a friend of mine who'd worked with me in Sydney, and she'd also lost her job, and we decided on the whim to start a podcast called Career
Mm,
COVID. So it was
okay.
designed for people who had lost their jobs due to COVID and what to do next. And we did a weekly episode throughout 2020. And about halfway through the year, we decided to turn it into a book. And so we wrote the Career After COVID book. And I worked with a book coach and learned a little bit from her about book marketing, but self-published, and got that book to Amazon bestselling in the career category, which was, felt great for my first book. And then I started working with other authors because I had the marketing background and I'd learned what to do to get a book to bestseller and all of the processes, I guess, in terms of self-publishing. So I started working on the side through connections, personal connections, and from LinkedIn. I had in 2021, I went through cancer. So I had a bit of a
Oh,
break since then. I'm fine now. I'm clear of cancer. But
congrats.
thank you. And after that, just continued working part time in marketing and part time doing my book marketing coaching. So, as per your introduction, I've worked with nearly 100 authors now, and had some great journeys along the way, learned a lot about the process, and worked with great people who've had some great results.
This is great. So, okay, I want to talk about book marketing. Many authors think writing the book is the hardest part. And when after you publish the book, you realize that, oh my God, marketing is a lot of work, especially even if you're traditionally published, you still have to do your own marketing. So, what are your top marketing tips, especially for debut authors who are just tipping their toes into the jungle? So, what would you tell them? Like your top tips?
I get it. It's can be a really dirty word for authors who see themselves as artists. and creators and craftspeople with the written word. And the idea of having to put a business hat on and think about the business side of authorship is really challenging for a lot of authors. The original name of my Substack, which is now called Author Growth, was the Marketing First Author. And I do like to think of myself as the Marketing First Author or the Marketing First Coach
Mm, mm,
author, because really the top tip is to turn everything on its head and start with the marketing first before you write even one word of your book, to actually
mm,
really nail your target reader and understand what they want to get out of your book. I think particularly in nonfiction, when you're trying to get across some real content to the reader, but even as a fiction author, knowing your audience and what it is that they expect from a book in your genre is a really critical part. And planning that up front is the best way to make sure that you have some success when you finally launch, rather than writing the book
mm,
and then realizing when you're about to hit publish, self-publisher, or things are rolling along with your traditionally published book, when you suddenly think about it at the last minute and you haven't built an audience, you haven't built an email list, you haven't been with people along through your journey of writing the book. You haven't connected with your potential readers throughout the
mm,
month long or years long journey. That's such a great opportunity to connect with your readers and build an audience for when you launch. And so, yeah, my top tip is to actually, as painful and as gross as it might sound to many authors, to actually write their marketing plan first and
mm.
then start the process of writing their book.
I like that. And where do you think, if somebody tells you, I have a full-time job, I have, I don't know, 3 kids, I don't have much time to do much time, I don't have like limited time, I cannot do many things. What is like the number one thing that they should put their energy in? Is it email marketing? Is it social media? Is it like events, local events? What would you tell them?
I think Substack is the best place to be for an
Huh.
author. Yeah, in terms
That's interesting.
building an audience and building an email list, because you own your list. I think obviously there's certain genres, particularly in fiction, romance, obviously the romantasy genre, which gets a lot of hype on TikTok. There's definitely some genres where you want to be investing in social media. For non-fiction authors, I think Substack is the place to be, and potentially LinkedIn, investing energy there. But building your email list is so critical, because they're the people that follow your journey. They're the audience that you own, and you can promote your book to your email list and they have a direct connection because they've opted in to hear from you.
Mm,
So I'm very bullish on Substack in that regard, and
mm,
all of the authors that I work with to get on Substack and start building an audience. It's also a great way to test your writing, to
mm,
excerpts, to show the craft of writing, to bring the audience along with you as you write your book and show the ways that you're going about your author journey. I think people really want to feel that they're connected with the author of a book they're going to purchase, and
mm,
Substack through obviously long form posts, which are a great way to hone your craft, but your short form notes about that could show a picture of you at your writing desk, or cover reveals, or any part of the journey as you go along through writing, going through your editing process. People love to feel engaged with the process of or being an author and becoming an author.
Hmm. So, since you're like very quote unquote bullish on Substack, how do you think authors can grow on Substack? And maybe the authors tips that might be a bit different than like the generic growth on Substack. So how would, especially authors who with very few let's say they're out like or the very small audience list, and they want to use Substack for the first time, it can be a bit intimidating because they can go on notes and they see all these people talking to each other, and then they post their notes and then they get crickets, and they get lost in the shuffle. So what would you tell them? What is kind of the blueprint for success on Substack?
Yes, well, I'm still on my journey as well. I've helped a few authors build their audiences into the thousands on Substack. Um, but my audience is small. In fact, I should have got on Substack earlier than I did. I was late to the party, given how I feel about Substack now. I regret not getting
Mm,
on earlier. Look, it is a slog, and I think it's easy to get disheartened when there's no engagement with what you're writing. Um, I think all of the generic advice, unfortunately, does apply to authors as well.
mm,
The other
mm,
the other thing that I think is really important for authors to do is to find other authors on Substack and communicate with them. So whether that's going into the comments pages of Substacks that are designed to or have as their audience authors, like yours, like mine,
mm,
um, people who are on Substack as authors, going into the comments, liking people's comments, engaging, reaching out to people, encouraging other authors as they're going through their authoring journey, and building connections that way. I mean, I think there's very few of us on Substack who launch, unless we're someone famous, obviously, but you but for the average Joe launching on Substack, it is a slow grind, and you might get some peaks in your growth, and then a flattening off, and then another something else takes off, and then you go up a bit
mm,
again. It's a slow process, and that's why I tell people to start early.
mm. Yeah, yeah.
That
I mean,
first
that's
book, to actually start their Substack when they've got their first idea to write a book.
mm, mm. That's yeah. I mean, these are really good comments. One thing I might add to it, which is what we're doing now, which is going live actually, and I realized I know this is your first Substack live.
Mm.
But for me, going live was kind of like a natural progression from my podcast because I kind of do this at least 2 or 3 times a week. So like I was like, you know what, I might as well just go live on Substack as well. But what I realized with going Substack is people love seeing you on video, and the minute I go live, I get more subscribers. And I just posted a note about James Patterson, the author. I've seen his book all the time. I saw
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And I read few of him and I was like, okay, maybe he's just not for me. And then I started seeing him on Substack, on live Substack. And I was like, I kind of fell in love with the author. It was like, wow, he's so funny. He's like smart. He's like, and now it made me want to actually give his books one more chance. So I it was kinda an aha moment or a eureka moment. I was like, I fell in love with that author because I saw him live. I mean, if it was only the written text, I was like, yeah. But So like I think authors they really really have to be on video. I know many authors are introverts, but in because this is how you kind of move their emotions. I mean, how do you feel about that?
I think you're spot on with that. And I think I would take it a step further and say any opportunity to connect with your audience face to face, and
Mm,
by that I mean either virtually or in person, is a really positive opportunity. It's obviously very time consuming to go to book launch after book launch, and I think that's something that I mean, in person at bookstores, I think that's something that perhaps people more of the traditionally published route tend to go down that pathway. Um, but there's certainly blogging tours that you can do with book bloggers where you get invited onto podcasts and go live and get to talk about your book. And that's something that I encourage authors to get engaged with as well, to reach out to book bloggers, um, and do like a book tour when they launch their book to build hype for their book. And you're absolutely right. Seeing an author live, I think in this day and age of AI, seeing a real human talking and showing
yeah.
they've what they've what's inspired them to write the book, what they're interested to hear from readers about. I think that's a really human and very powerful way for authors to connect. So I
Mm,
agree 110% to I'm really happy to be live with you to today. It's a great chance to do it, and I'm really glad I'm getting my first one out of the way, and this has encouraged me to do it more often. But I think you're spot on. As soon as you see someone, their face moving and them talking, it's a really great way to connect with them and their story.
mm. So you're a book coach, ghostwriter, and an author. And do you do all of these full time, or do you have like another full time job? How do you manage your time with all of
I
these
I
titles?
had part-time jobs working in marketing, and I still do some marketing consulting because and strategy, because a lot of my career has been in marketing and strategy. Um, but I guess, what everyone calls a solopreneur.
Mm,
I'm kind of multi-passionate, and I do the work that interests me, and that I work with the people who I know I can help the most. And
mm,
occasionally, I have people. I just worked with an author this week on a book cover design, and
mm,
I have to say it wasn't a positive experience. She had very clear ideas on the cover being all about her and not about what her audience was expecting. And I tried to guide her towards what the expectations were for her genre. And yeah, she wasn't ready to hear, yeah, what
mm,
I
mm,
had to
mm,
say on my experience. And so I'm selective about people that I work with. If I can say the word, the book coach that worked with me on my original book, she had a no dickheads policy.
mm.
I've
I lo-
carried that through, if I can say that word. Yeah.
it's fine. It's fine. You can see it.
So,
Uh,
yeah, I
huh.
do. The book marketing coach is a big part of my work now.
Hmm. So you think that the bulk of your work is mostly book coaching or ghostwriting? Like where does your main like income stream come from?
My main income stream comes from book marketing coaching.
And how do you find these clients? I'm just curious. So I'm gonna mute myself because my dog is barking. But how do
Okay.
you how do you find these clients? And I think because client acquisition is a big deal.
Yes, absolutely. I have had a few already through Substack. I've always got clients through LinkedIn, and through my personal Facebook network as well. So I just had a call yesterday with a guy who I knew when I lived in Japan 25 years ago, who's now thinking of writing a book and wants me to help him. Um, I'm also it's quite funny. I'm divorced, and occasionally I go on the dating apps. And a couple of times I've met up with gentlemen who I haven't wanted to be involved with romantically, but when they found out what I do for a living, they've wanted to engage me to help them write their books.
That's an interesting marketing tip. Go on the dating apps. But, uh, uh, all right. So you mentioned you found them through Substack, and how is that? I've been on Substack for a couple of years. I don't think I got one single client from Substack. What am I doing wrong?
So I guess it's part of my offer with my actual Substack itself. So
Mm,
a annual membership, which I've got discounted at the moment to $60 US, comes
okay.
comes with a free 6 to 10 page customized book marketing plan.
Mm, that's smart. So okay.
Yeah, so when you sign up for a year, you get the plan delivered within 10 days, customized for your genre. And so I'm working with 4 clients at the moment on their plans. I've just finished one and I've got 3 more that I'm working on at the moment. So it's well below my normal rates. Normally a marketing
Mm,
$210 US for me to offer. Um, uh, so yeah, it's a special offer, I guess, as I get established on Substack, and then yeah, that rate will increase at some point. When I get overwhelmed, hopefully. Yeah. So it's great to be working with Substack authors. I've been posting on notes encouraging people to buy books by Substack authors. Support
mm,
Substack because we're all on Substack and we're all trying to, whatever our goal is, we're all
mm,
to find an audience and serve an audience in some way, whether that's even just as a free, not monetizing it, just offering free content for, there's people writing poetry and fiction and all sorts of things with no intention. They just want to get their word out to people.
mm, yeah.
Um, but obviously there's a lot of people on Substack wanting to monetize as well. And yeah, my offer has been crafted in such a way that I start the journey of helping an author with their book marketing by them committing to an annual subscription to my
Hmm.
Substack.
So I'm curious, why did you focus on the book coaching or the book marketing coaching part in your offer rather than the ghostwriting? Because you technically have two offers, correct? Which is you ghostwrite and you also do book marketing.
Yeah, my ghostwriting has mainly been within organizational settings. So
Mm,
I have um I have I have ghost written a handful of books for private clients, but most of it has been in the business setting where I'm ghost writing reports and speeches and pieces of work for C-suite executives, heads of
Mm,
universities, uh, local government, like Lord Mayors of cities. That's been the basis of my ghostwriting career. So um, I'm I'm not putting as much effort into finding clients for ghostwriting now, because personally I'm finding that people are very suspicious of of ghostwriting now with the advent of AI, and
mm,
I can't earn enough from my writing for the time that it takes me, because people say, well, I could have just written that with AI, and they're not valuing it as they used to. That's just been my experience. I'm curious to hear what your experience is.
hmm. That's interesting. I think maybe that's for the business writing part of ghostwriting. But I think for me, most of my focus has been either newsletters or memoir, memoir ghostwriting. And memoir ghostwriting, it's difficult for AI to write it for you because the bulk of memoir ghostwriting is your interviewing techniques. And your
Yeah,
interviewing technique is to get the story out and then package the story. I mean, AI can help you with the outline, shape it, whatever, maybe even write a draft, but you have to have a human involved in the whole process. You really cannot skip that. So I think that's actually a good point. So maybe with the advent of AI, that the only thing that would survive is the memoir ghostwriting.
yeah.
But
I just
that's
don't know where it's going to head. And I have got one memoir ghostwriting client that I'm working with. She's just taking a break over the northern summer. I'm working with her. She's in the UK. Um,
mm,
so you're right. There are definitely still clients out there, and I think you're right. Memoir is the genre where it's going to have to stay human. Um, but yes, I on the business side, which is, as I said, the bulk of the ghostwriting that I've done, it's definitely petered out in terms of what people are prepared to invest in writing.
mm. So I want to talk a bit about your books. So how many books did you publish?
I've published one under my own name
Hmm.
and four under pen names.
Mm.
Um,
Why pen names? Why pen names?
I wrote under pen names because I wanted some anonymity in terms of I was trialing different methods of promoting the books, and I didn't want a book that might flop to be
Mm.
connected to my name. So
Interesting.
yeah, so I did, as it turns out, two of the other four have been successful, and two of them have just uh, been not not hugely successful. Yeah, so not bestsellers. So I wanted to test advertising with Amazon, test advertising with Facebook, test various techniques, and I wanted to be able to do that with the ability for it not to be linked to my name. But
Mm.
I'm open about the fact that I've had failures.
Yeah, yeah, of course. I mean, we all did, and we all will continue to fail, and that's part of the cycle of life.
It,
Um, Okay, so what made your book go to the Amazon bestsellers? If there's like one thing that really moved the needle, what do you think it is? Sorry, I have some, black stuff on my face from black ink.
Okay.
Anyways, yeah.
Um, I think with the first book, it was our podcast audience.
Mm. You think
Uh,
that your podcast audience bought your book after you published it?
Podcast was mainly, I mean, it was on, well, it wasn't on Spotify back in those days, but it was on Apple Podcasts and I think on Google Play as well. And it was from the stats that I got, it was mainly listened to in Australia. I mean, it was Australian focused content in terms of
Okay.
what, um, what people could do in the market, in the job market in Australia. And so the bestseller that I got for that was from Australian purchasers. And
Mm.
so I didn't do any Amazon advertising for the book. I promoted it to my network. And I think, yeah, between the podcast audience and our networks as authors, that's what got it over the line in terms of being a bestseller. Um, with other clients that I've worked with, I've worked on specific promotions with them with Amazon ads.
Mm.
You get they're very tricky to get to work, Amazon ads, and you can end up blowing a lot of budget for very little result, for a negative return on investment. So they're very tricky to get to work, and you really have to have some expertise in order to see the benefit of those, and which some authors have had. Um, there's other promotional avenues, things like BookBub promotions.
Mm.
Some authors have been able to snare, they're competitive, so it's not just a pay and play, you have to be
Yeah.
chosen.
Yeah.
Have had BookBub promotions where an email goes out to, 4 million readers worldwide or whatever, and their books featured in that email, and they get enough purchases to send their book to bestseller status. So that's certainly worked.
So
Oh, bless
thank you. Sorry. Yeah.
you.
It's the
Uh,
summer here, so yeah.
oh, yeah, yeah. Um,
Yeah.
So yeah, there's I think in terms of moving the needle, your personal and professional network, depending upon what you're publishing, I don't think most authors can rely on that, because very few friends and family, they say they support you, but when it comes to
Yeah.
my experience is very few actually buy, and it can be, it's great to get a purchase and potentially help you towards getting bestseller, but it does mess with the algorithms a bit if they're buying your book, which is a romantasy, and the rest of their book is all, their book buying history with Amazon is business
Mm.
books. Um, it skews that the Amazon algorithm in terms of people who bought this book also bought these books, and it just messes with that algorithm a bit if you're getting your friends and family to buy your book for you. So you're better off targeting your true audience for your book, and if it's romantasy, you target people who buy romantasy. Um,
Mm. So I want to go back and talk a bit about Amazon ads and also Facebook ads. So let's do a case study here. So I invested a number of times on Amazon ads and Facebook ads. I don't think I got one purchase, maybe
yeah.
one.
What
But
genre?
my genre is speculative fiction.
Okay. Yep.
So it's a mix of literary fiction and with like magical elements.
Yeah,
Uh, uh so if I want to give you this case study live, and you would tell me
picking on the spot.
what I'm a journalist by training, so I
Yeah,
I do. No.
married
So
for
huh?
13 years. So, so
But
I,
so what do you think I did wrong
I'd
without
have to
even looking?
campaign. I'd have
But
to campaign.
like,
It's
what are the top mistakes that actually
the keyword
people?
drive it. The keywords drive it in terms of the Amazon ads, getting those keywords right and monitoring. You've got to spend so much time monitoring to see what's working and cutting things off that are not driving sales straight away.
Mm,
Trialing other things. You've got to do really strong keyword research and have the right keywords in your campaign and really good uh, copy if you're doing a, yeah, make
and
sure that the ad. As for Facebook ads, they're changing all the time on Meta,
mm, mm,
and it's um, it's it's a it's sort of a month by month proposition in terms of what you can do on there. But I always start by letting the algorithm find find my audience for me. I go wide rather than narrowing it down too much by saying they like this book or this author. I actually let I don't specify too closely who I'm targeting, and I just
mm.
full budget and give it a couple of weeks for Facebook's algorithm to see who's clicking through to the link, and let the algorithm learn on its own who is interested in my book. But again, copy and visuals are so important, and I would say video content of the author speaking. Back to your earlier point,
Yeah,
really
yeah,
powerful, really
yeah,
powerful.
yeah. That was just
Or
like
organic as well,
that
not
was
just
an aha,
paid.
aha moment. But
Yes,
yeah. So you're a book marketing coach. You do not help them with like mindset, writing, outline, all of that. You just only focus on the marketing.
I help them on. I cross over into some of the book coaching because I believe that the outline is part of marketing, and how you write your introduction is part of your marketing. And because you're drawing people in, people are getting a preview of your book, either flicking through it in a bookstore or going on Amazon and seeing the first chapter. So I help people structure their books. I can coach them through the process of writing. Um, and that's what I'm really doing with the ghostwriting client I'd referred to earlier. She she wants to write it, but she needs a lot of hand holding. So it'll sort of be a hybrid. Her and me writing it. I'm having to help her structure it. She's just got no um, she's just coming from a place of wanting to write a book but having no idea. And I mean, we're all the same when we first do it. The first time you do it, you learn um, all the things that there are to learn about it, and how to do it in the right way. Your first edit just about you has you in tears, because you're just finding out that you've you've got so much more to learn. I'm a huge fan of developmental editors. I think a good developmental editor, and I do some developmental editing. Um, a good developmental editor has a marketing hat on.
Mm. True.
My developmental editor for my careers guide had a great marketing head. I had a marketing head from my experience, but not in the book world. But she had it from a
Mm.
perspective, and I learned a great deal from her. So, yeah, book marketing is my ultra niche, but I definitely provide services beyond that and have helped with outlining, writing, book descriptions, cover design, uh, naming books, actually, and doing a really thorough target market audience. You've got a visitor. I've told my visitors they're not welcome for
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, sorry about that. He's just anyway, it's too early here. It's like 7 a.m.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. I mean, these are all like fascinating points, Fleur. And I'm just curious, what are you working on now? Like before we conclude, I want to hear what you're working on besides the coaching business, if you're doing like anything new, like creatively.
I am working on a course.
Mm,
So I want to help simplify marketing for authors and
okay.
make it something that they can learn just enough about to get it right from the beginning. It just breaks my heart seeing, and I write notes about this, but it's what I call authors launching to crickets. Just
Mm,
people, and you see, I don't know if you're on Reddit in the self-publishing subreddit,
no,
but
maybe I
just
should.
that,
Which one it's called? It's called the Reddit Sub-Publishing.
self-publishing, yeah. Um,
Okay.
the number of people writing in there saying, so I launched my book last week and I haven't had any sales.
Oh, that's sad.
But there's just so many. It's just constant. It's
Yeah.
time. And it
Yeah.
just art because they've invested their heart and soul in writing this book, but have just expected, and again, I've written notes about this on my in Substack. There's 70,000 books published every week on Amazon. Every week.
Mm, that's a lot. And
So,
so how do you stand
author,
out here?
yeah. So you've got to be marketing, and this is
Yeah.
why I say start with the
Yeah.
marketing. You think about how your perfect reader is going to be drawn to your book above the bestsellers, above the famous authors. Why are they going to take a shot at a new author that they've never heard of? What is it about
Correct.
the book that is going to compel them to hit add to cart?
I have an idea for you actually, which is when it comes like the word marketing is such like a big elephant that you want to slice. And one of the things that I would be, for example, interested in investing in or purchasing a course is Amazon ads. Like if it would say like how to use Amazon ads to sell your books if you're a self-published author, like niche down.
Mm,
And this is something I personally, because I've been reading a lot about marketing, but I don't know, you're the expert, is might get you to the authors who tried everything, but they want something above the kind of like go to the bookstore, whatever, something even more technical. And that's a very unique skill that would be hard to find on watching YouTube videos or whatever. So just an idea.
Thank you. Yeah, there are quite a few Amazon ads experts on YouTube who are selling courses. Um,
Mm.
um, and there's people who've written best-selling Amazon books about Amazon ads. So there are quite a lot of resources out there, but I appreciate that feedback from you, and will investigate further about including more material in my Substack and in my my work that caters to that. But I'm conscious that there are many people who've come before me and people who've been doing it a lot longer than me. And so that doesn't mean I shouldn't give it a go. I'm pretty bold, but I'd want to do some serious competitor research before I launch down the path of coming up with an Amazon ads course. But thank you.
Yeah, I think if you niche it down like to Amazon ads for authors or even like for business authors or something very niche, I think that
Yes.
that
Yeah.
and plus people go like they would sign up to the course because they like you as well. Like you're the magnet as well. So even if there are like 100 people doing the same thing, seeing you on video, all of that, they're more likely to sign up with you because they heard you talk rather than just a random dude or somebody online. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So
that's for sure.
yeah,
Yeah. Maybe
yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah. No,
just
no, that's a great thank you.
yeah.
Send of all
So
royalties uh, back to you.
no, it's just I like to spread the love.
Yeah.
Well,
I have an idea and I think someone else can execute it better than me. I'm like, go for it.
yeah, because like I cannot do this. I don't know much about Amazon ads, and I always need help. Um, so before we conclude, 'cause we've been talking for almost an hour, and I can talk for
Wow.
two more. Uh, what would like the last thing you would like to say about book marketing? Any last tips? And also, how can people find you and connect with you?
Sure. I think back to what I said originally at the start for people who may not have joined till later, you've got to start with the marketing. You've got to have your marketing plan done um, before you start writing the book or as you start writing the book and conceiving of the book. And for those of you, I have to do a self promo here. If you want to get a marketing plan for your book, sign up for a year on my author growth Substack, and it's $60 US. And with that, you get included with your annual subscription a 6 to 10 page fully customized with audience analysis and social media, everything in there for you as part of your annual subscription. So I'm on Substack at Fleur Hull, or you can search for Author Growth. And I really appreciate the opportunity to go live with you tonight. And the next time won't be so daunting for me. And I appreciate you welcoming me and having me so much, Natasha. It's great following your work.
Of course, same here, Fleur. And for anyone who joined us today for this live event, thank you for joining us. And the recording, I will also upload the recording for those who missed the live. And so, yeah, thanks again. Thank you, Fleur, for accepting my invitation and stay in touch. And for anyone who's looking for book marketing tips and coaching, you know where to find Fleur. And thank you, everyone. And until we meet again, bye.
Bye bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.